Hey amazing parent, it's Dr. Lindsay here with this week's psychology-based parenting tips about how to get your child to stop whining. Imagine this, you're in the middle of preparing dinner, the phone is ringing, and your little one decides it's the perfect time to start whining for your attention. Sound familiar? You're not alone. As parents, we all know the familiar sound of a child's whining. It can be grating, frustrating, and downright exhausting. It's a sound that can test the patience of a saint, and yet it's a natural part of child development. How do we navigate this challenging aspect of parenting without losing our cool or giving in to the demands that only fuel the fire? This episode explores a loving yet firm approach to transforming whining into communication and cooperation. Before we get to the solution, we've got to briefly cover the why behind the whine and get a quick psychology lesson to understand why the quick fix is absolutely not the long-term solution. But before we dive in, if you're looking for more strategies and insights to managing behavioral issues beyond whining, don't miss my free downloadable resource, 5 must-have tips for better behavior today. It's packed with practical advice to start making positive changes in your family dynamics immediately. Now you'll find the link in the description below this video, along with other free downloadable parenting resources. First up, understanding the whine. Whining isn't just noise, it's communication. Young children, in their quest to understand the world, often use whining as a tool to see how we respond. It's their job to test out different behaviors, and it's our job to guide them towards more effective ways of expressing themselves. This is where a scripted response can be a game changer. We're going to get to that solution shortly. Now, while many resources offer tips on stopping whining, it's essential to look at the underlying needs and emotions driving the behavior. It's their way of saying, "I need you," without having the words to express it. Children whine for a myriad of reasons. Frustration, exhaustion, or hunger are chief among them. Sometimes whining is a sign of unmet needs or a child's way of seeking attention and connection. Recognizing whining as a form of communication rather than just noise is the first step in addressing it effectively. Ensuring quality time and addressing these deeper needs can reduce the reliance on whining as a communication tool. Preventative measures like maintaining a regular eating schedule, including meals and snacks, can help reduce whining. A healthy sleep schedule is another critical component of whining prevention. Well-rested kids are primed for better behavior. I'll link to my playlist, How to Raise Great Sleepers, in the description below this video in case you could use some of my tips for establishing a consistent and effective bedtime routine. Okay, now let's move on to the quick fix trap. So why giving in doesn't work. It's tempting to give in to whining to make it stop, especially when you're in a public place or trying to juggle a million things. However, this quick fix can lead to more whining in the long run. This phenomenon is explained by a psychology theory called operant conditioning. It shows that behaviors followed by a reward, in this case, getting what they whined for, are likely to be repeated. Essentially, giving in reinforces the whining behavior and makes it more likely to be exhibited in the future. Succumbing to the whining might bring immediate silence, but it's a temporary solution that can encourage more whining. So the quick fix of giving in leads to a cycle where whining becomes the go-to method for getting desires met. That is definitely not your goal. Recognizing this pattern is the first step in changing it. Then, it's essential to look beyond the immediate quiet and focus on the long-term behavior change. Instead of inadvertently reinforcing the whining behavior, we can focus on reinforcing positive communication methods. This might involve acknowledging and rewarding the child when they express their needs or feelings calmly and clearly, thereby promoting these more desirable behaviors through positive reinforcement. So positive reinforcement is the first way we can use operant conditioning to minimize whining behavior. We can also use operant conditioning to teach children that whining does not get them what they want. Remember, when a child whines and their needs or wants are immediately met, they learn that whining is an effective method of communication. This reinforcement makes the behavior more likely to occur in the future. Conversely, if whining is consistently met with a negative outcome, such as being ignored or not getting what they want, children learn that this behavior is not effective, thereby reducing its occurrence in the future. That's our goal in shaping our child's behavior. In operant conditioning terms, a consequence that decreases the likelihood of behavior occurring again is called a punishment. Punishment in this context does not refer to harsh measures, merely implementing consequences that decrease the likelihood of whining. This could be as simple as consistently not giving in to the demands made through whining, or setting clear expectations for communication. In essence, by applying the principles of operant conditioning, we can gradually shift away from reinforcing whining to encouraging healthier, more effective forms of communication. It involves a delicate balance of reinforcement and setting boundaries, all while maintaining a supportive and understanding environment where children feel heard and valued. This approach not only addresses the immediate challenge of whining, but also contributes to the development of emotional intelligence and communication skills, laying the foundation for positive interactions in the future. This psychology lesson gives you the foundation for understanding why it's so critical not to give in to whining behavior, and provides an overarching view of how to use reinforcement and punishment to promote better behavior. Next, let's get into the specific strategies you can start using the next time your child starts whining. Moving on to a scripted response, your secret weapon. One effective strategy to combat whining is to adopt a scripted, loving, but firm response. Creating and consistently using a scripted response to whining can work wonders. This doesn't mean being robotic, but having a consistent reply that conveys understanding while setting boundaries. So for example, I hear that you're upset because you want whatever specific thing is, but whining won't help. Can you ask in a normal voice? Or, I understand you're upset, but I need you to use your words and your calm voice. Or, I can see that you're upset, but I need you to use your calm voice so I can understand and help you. These are all examples of go-to phrases that calmly and lovingly set boundaries. This approach acknowledges the child's feelings while guiding them towards more appropriate behavior and promoting a healthier form of communication. Now, here's the tricky part that parents often miss. After you use your scripted response, you cannot fulfill your child's request until they have asked again in a normal voice, or at least markedly closer to normal. For example, when they say, "Mommy, I'm so thirsty, I need water," in a whiny voice, you might respond, "We'd best get you some water, but I need you to ask kindly in your calm voice, please." They may get it right at first, or they may still be a little bit off, in which case you might say, "That's getting much closer. Please try again and I'll have that water for you in a flash." Just be sure to wait for the request to be made in a normal voice. You're teaching your child what is expected of them and training them to understand that expectation must be met before you will fulfill their wishes. The key to a scripted response working successfully to reduce whining is consistency. If you can catch yourself anytime you're tempted to give in to whining and instead use your scripted response, your child will learn that whining is not an effective strategy. The more consistently you use this approach, the more quickly they will stop whining, and the more quickly they will learn not to even try whining in the first place. To wrap up this section, just a reminder that there is often a real reason for whining, so in addition to curbing that behavior, be sure you're also addressing the underlying issue, whether that be fatigue or hunger or craving attention. I'd love to hear in the comments what scripted responses you use with your children to curb whining. Okay, now let's talk about creating a whine-free environment. In addition to crafting your scripted response and consistently using it whenever your child whines, here are 5 more tips for creating a whine-free environment. Number 1, identify triggers. Keep a log of when whining occurs to identify patterns and potential triggers. Is it close to nap time? Are they hungry? Understanding these can help in preempting whining episodes. Number 2, establish clear communication channels. Teach your child alternative ways to express their needs and feelings. Use simple words and role-playing to practice these new forms of communication. Number 3, consistent routines. Children thrive on consistency. Establishing a predictable routine can reduce anxiety and uncertainty, leading to fewer whining episodes. Number 4, positive reinforcement. Acknowledge and reward efforts to communicate without whining. Positive reinforcement can motivate children to continue using their new skills. And number 5, quality time. Sometimes whining is a bid for attention. Ensure you're spending quality, undivided time with your child, showing them that they're valued and loved. Okay, last section here is the role of self-regulation in parenting. One crucial aspect often overlooked in the battle against whining is the importance of self-regulation as a parent. Managing our reactions and staying calm teaches our children how to handle their emotions. It's not just about stopping the whining, it's about modeling the behavior we want to see. In psychology, we call this phenomenon of learning that happens naturally through observation, social learning theory. Our children are always watching and learning from us. How we manage our emotions and reactions in the face of whining teaches them how to regulate their own emotions. Demonstrating calmness and consistency in our responses not only helps in the moment, but also models the behavior we wish to see in our children. It's also crucial to remember that whining is a normal part of development, especially in young children. They're not trying to be difficult, they're learning how to communicate. Their job is to explore behaviors and see how the world responds. Our job as parents is to provide consistent, loving guidance that helps them learn more effective ways to communicate. Understanding that whining is a normal part of development for young children can help us to approach the behavior with more patience. Patience is paramount when dealing with whining. Changes won't happen overnight, but with persistence, the message gets through. Our response should be consistently loving yet firm, guiding them towards better behavior while keeping their developmental stage in mind. Remember to stay consistent in your scripted response and wait for them to change their tone before responding to their request to see the best results. Now it's time for the take-home message for this episode. Tackling whining is not about quick fixes, it's about understanding, consistency, and patience. By adopting a scripted response, recognizing the role of operant conditioning, and addressing the underlying needs, we can guide our children towards more effective communication methods. Remember, our goal is not to silence our children, but to help them express their needs and emotions in a healthy, constructive way. As we implement these strategies and create a supportive atmosphere, we're not just curbing whining, we're nurturing emotionally intelligent individuals equipped to navigate the complexities of their feelings and relationships. Together, we can transform the challenges of parenting into opportunities for building a stronger, more communicative family dynamic. Decide upon your scripted response to whining today and start using it consistently, being sure not to grant your child's wishes until they make a request in a normal tone of voice. And you'll start seeing a major change in the amount of whining in your household. Curbing whining behavior falls under the consistency category of my 5 C's parenting framework. If you're new to the 5 C's, look in the description below this video to find more parenting resources, including a video about the 5 C's parenting framework, and a link to sign up for my weekly newsletter to be sure that you never miss any of my new tips. Okay, amazing parent, that wraps up today's episode. Thanks for joining me to fill your parenting toolbox with psychology-based tools to feel more confident and capable in your parenting. If you found this video helpful, I'd invite you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more psychology-based parenting tips. Join me next week to learn how to gradually and safely ease your child into social media. In the meantime, check out my free resources listed below in the description. If you're ready to take your parenting to the next level with my online courses, follow the link in the description below. And keep up the good work on your amazing parenting journey. Oh, and remember, if you want to dive deeper into teaching your child to have better behavior, my comprehensive guide, 5 must-have tips for better behavior today, offers extensive strategies, real-life scenarios, and expert guidance to help you navigate and reduce unwanted behavior immediately. Download your copy today at parentingwithpsychology.com/better.